this is Tina from Shabby Dabby Doodah. Welcome back to my channel. So we're here for another one of our Tidy Fridays, and I'm here at my little cupboard that's here behind my desk. It's just next to my lovely drawers there. And a few weeks ago we cleared out all of my card making stamps, and I have got this empty box here. So today what I thought we could do is try and transfer some of my fabrics and laces and things into this box, which, you know, which would be really useful. But also the gap then that's in between this box and the, you know, the other box of my other stamps. I think probably I'm going to move the things that we've been doing on the craft cart into that space, because lots of you came up with this fantastic point of, obviously, you know, my craft cart that we have been working with the last couple of weeks, which I'm thrilled to bits. I've got my papers on here and things. It's looking really good and much more serviceable, but you've all got a point really. The things that I don't use so much, like my punches, like my binder tool machine, which definitely, you know, I hardly ever use that. Really, it's taking up valuable space here. So I'm going to try and transfer that into the space that is in that gap. You can see there unfinished projects and things all kind of like on the floor behind my desk. So yeah, I need to also get on top of those. But today I thought, let's move on to, let's grab the box across, my laces, which, to be fair, I had kind of been keeping quite organised, and now they just suddenly have kind of exploded. So I'm going to try and sort some of these and put some of these into this box, you know, like we did the other fabrics where we've rolled them instead, or where we've stored them, you know, vertically instead of horizontally, and then I'm going to be able to get to them much more easily. So I've got this ginormous bag, and it's full of things like, you know, laces that aren't going to easily wrap around something, but instead they're kind of what do you call it, you know, like this, which actually is a tablecloth. So of course it's not quite so easy to store. So I'm going to just take some of these across to my desk and we'll put them in. Okay, complete change of plan already, and I've only just started the video. I've got a lot of these types of laces, which I was really lucky to manage to buy some last year during the first lockdown with a wholesaler of lace and fabrics and things. So I thought, actually, these are already on their, you know, cardboard spool things. So to be honest, what I'm going to do is, instead of having these like wedged into this bag, I'm going to store these here, like sideways on. So again, I've got that kind of vertical thing going on where I can just see at a glance, because that's just really helpful. And I've got some black here as well. As you know, I absolutely love my black laces, like that. And then I've got, like here, for instance, this is an old bed sheet that, you know, it kind of had seen better days, and so what I've done is, obviously it's washed, and I just keep it for when I kind of want to do some ruffles and things. So again, I can just kind of tuck this down the side, because that's a really bulky item and was you know, taking up a lot of space into that bag. So let's just bring in a couple more of the lace kind of spools. So I've got some that I've not even taken out the packaging yet. So I'm just going to put those in there. Clearly I was worried about running out of lace. I mean, obviously these are not vintage laces or anything, but I do, you know, I do love them nonetheless, and, you know, use them very regularly in my projects. So I've got here this gorgeous, I don't know whether it would have been a table runner or something like that, but that's absolutely gorgeous, isn't it? And again, I'm not saying it's bulky, but it's not the easiest thing to store. It's not kind of laying flat or anything. So again, that can just kind of wedge down here like that. And then I'm just going to take that tablecloth and fold it up and put it into that space. So hold on. Okay, so this is my box now. So I've got all my, you know, large kind of laces kind of on spools here. And then I've got, you know, things like that bed sheet and the tablecloth, things that are quite big and bulky, just rolled up and squashed down here. And then the only one that I've got here is just this crocheted lace. So that's that. That's my carrier bag now, much more organised. That, of course, I can now kind of see in it and delve into it. It's got things like, you know, old dresses of my daughters and things like that in there. So, you know, it has got other things. but they're just not the easiest to store. So I'm going to put this back in the cupboard, but I'm pretty happy now with how this area looks. This is just some stuff from like a craft declutter, that I've yet to get rid of. And this is just some more coffee dyed papers and things like that I've just got there kind of waiting to be used really. So I'm going to take this back across and put it back into my cupboard. Okay, so it's back in my cupboard now. And as you can see, I just switched the box around, because even little things like this make a difference. But these large spools that are quite tall were on this side, obviously, before I switched the box around. And of course then, they would be kind of like in the middle, blocking my access to these parts, if you see what I mean. So kind of keeping it staggered height wise, going to the tallest bits over there is just, makes it way easier to actually get to pieces. So that's that. Now I'm going to just have a look and see what I can fit from the craft cart onto this little gap, which actually now I'm looking, this gap seems, actually quite reasonable. So let's bring in my bind it machine. Like I say, I do use this from time to time, but I haven't used it for a really long time. So yeah, it's definitely not something I need kind of, regular or immediate access to or anything like that. So pop that there. Then I've got my scalloped circle punch, which, I don't necessarily use that overly much. So definitely that can go in there. Now straight away, I'm now kind of coming to the point where everything's going to be just squashed in there and chucked in. So perhaps my Tyvek should stay out. I do use my Tyvek, reasonably often. Or I could just kind of leave it just on the top of, one of my fabric containers, to be honest. Now, you can probably see I haven't got overly much room. The bind it all kind of slots in really well. I thought that I was going to get room for, several more punches, but actually, by the looks of things, I'm only going to get room for one more, which is a bit of a shame because I don't want to have everything kind of piled up, because then straight away I'm going back to, what I'm trying to get away from now. So just going to have a look and see which punch off of my craft cart, which one I use least. Now already I've been using this scalloped oval punch, which is why they're now kind of, it was over here. It's no longer there because I've been using it already this week. So probably the one I use least. I very rarely use this, to be honest. And I very rarely use the envelope punch. I also very rarely use the tag punch, if I'm truthful, so perhaps I'll move those two. Okay, these are sort of just old punches that I've had, for years and years and years. They're nice to have, but yeah, I really don't particularly use them very often. So I'm just going to see if they'll go in side by side. They do, but not brilliantly. I'm going to have a kind of situation where every time I drag this box out, I would kind of be knocking them out of the cupboard, which again then just makes things, unpleasant to get to, which I really am trying to avoid, because of course if things are then tricky to get to, that's why we never use them. So yeah, I'm trying to tell myself this, because this is not, this is not a natural thing for me. My natural thing is to just chuck it all in here piled up, and yeah, it would be difficult to get to. Right, this edge punch, I don't know whether to put it on here or whether to actually just kind of, I don't know. You guys probably are watching and probably can see the most obvious thing that I need to do here. But yeah, here in the flesh, it's a bit like when you watch those game shows, and you're all shouting at the TV saying, oh, for goodness sake, this is the answer. But when you're actually there, I guess it's sometimes harder to think on the spot. So, right, I'm going to just discipline myself, or, restrain myself and just have those two there, because otherwise I am, in danger of just cluttering it up. So on here, again, I'm just going to put the punches back. So just put these back, but weirdly, just going to switch the order of them around. I know that just sounds like such a minor detail, but it's not minor, because if, I'm sat at my desk doing a video, and then the punch I'm using most at the moment is my oval punch. And so just having that one more accessible is definitely going to be helpful. So yeah, I'm going to kind of do that, I think. Okay, right. And then all the other punches are kind of tucked in just, you know, at this end, but that's fine. I don't mind standing up and having to walk around to get them. So yeah, making good progress. And obviously down here, I've got my mass made items. And again, I was going to empty all these out. Oops, I've got a scrap there. I was going to empty all these out. And lots of you made the point that obviously if I empty them out, I'm not going to be able to just pull them in onto my desk. Now, I've got to be honest and say, I don't really tend to do that, really. I mean, I never kind of bring this in to my desk. I always just come onto the floor and rummage through for what I might need. So I don't know. I'm in a quandary whether I would, you know, benefit so much from having so many things stored in here, like naked, i.e. not in this box, that it would be worth it, or whether, you know, do I have the box in there? I don't know. I mean, yeah, I really have to be honest and say, you know, I don't think I've probably ever pulled the box in. Maybe once, maybe once or twice. But I mean, that box in itself takes up quite a lot of room in that tray. So, you know, would I benefit from actually having these items loose? Oh, it's a tough decision, isn't it? And again, you're probably all shouting at the screen saying, oh, do this, it's so obvious. But yeah, as usual, I cannot see what's obvious here. So, oh, I don't know. Oh, it's so tricky. I'm going to just quickly put some of them out into there and see how it is. Right, so I've put some of them in. This is not all of them, but some of them. And the first thing that springs to mind is, again, it's all about accessibility. So the stuff on this shelf, I probably would go to less than the stuff on this shelf. So I'm going to switch these shelves around, like move all of this stuff onto this bottom shelf, and then kind of see how I feel about having my mass makes here, because I'm sat obviously on the floor at the moment, and this is kind of perfect height for being able to flick through those items. So I would just literally switch these all out and switch them around. Okay, so this is it switched around. So I'm just going to move this box out the way so as you can see properly. So I've got everything on this shelf that had been on here. And now on this shelf, I've got my mass made items. So obviously they look like they're taking up a lot more room now because they've got a lot more room to breathe. When they were in here, they were pretty squashed in. And like I say, obviously there's things I use more than others. So as soon as I'm kind of running low on some stuff, I maybe make some more of a certain thing. But I do love having an abundance of things to pull from. But yeah, this I can now see a lot more easily what I've got. Whereas it was becoming so congested in here that I was struggling then to actually have a rummage through to see what I've got when I came to make a project. But as you can see, I'd obviously divided, you know, when I first started doing the mass making, I was really organised and, you know, very good, and did keep them all in their own separate compartment for the different ephemera types or embellishment types. With these things, you know, that I just kind of made from some cardboard. Now, obviously, these were made to fit, you know, the photo box. They're now obviously, you know, tiny in comparison to this tray. I don't mind that because obviously, you know, they're still giving me plenty of room. In slower time, I might make some that are sort of, you know, bigger size for this. I mean, that would probably be a good thing to do. But I am, yeah, possibly kind of, that would just be a bit of a chore. So that would be something to do over maybe a week of watching TV or something, make some of these. And, you know, I don't have to obviously put the little tab things on the top or anything like that. And then I still had room to fit a couple of little jars in here, which is awesome. Now, again, obviously, if I make those longer, you know, these longer photo card things, you know, divider cards, I wouldn't necessarily have room for my jars. But then having said that, I've got plenty of room here to put like a line of jars at the front. So yeah, I probably will have to make some more of these, you know, in a longer size, to be honest. But something to do in slower time, I think. I mean, I know that this would not be for everybody, and I'm not saying this is going to be for me. It's very much trial and error, and it's very much of kind of live with it for a couple of weeks, see how I'm finding it. I might find after a couple of weeks that this is just totally appalling and just not working for me at all. You know, maybe I won't be able to bear looking through it like this. But at the moment, I'm kind of feeling, well, I've got plenty of space in there. I can really kind of sort through very easily where I couldn't in this box because they'd outgrown it. Yeah, so I'm kind of quite happy with that. Now, obviously, I've freed up a box, which is awesome. So now I want to obviously, you know, do something with this box. And it's a bit of a shame because I did just quickly, before I switched the video back on, check to see. And unfortunately, it's just a fraction too wide to slot into that gap, which is such a shame because obviously that would have been absolutely brilliant if it had just, you know, slid into there. But what I did think I could do is I could put all of my unfinished pieces, yep, that's all that stuff there, into here. So I've got other unfinished projects in a tray under my desk, you know, which I'd bought from IKEA, but I haven't actually gone back and finished those yet. So in the meantime, I've now accumulated more unfinished projects, which I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure that we all have, you know, lots of unfinished projects. So I'm going to just take all of these and put them kind of in their types. So, I mean, like these, for instance, these are ephemera pieces that I have finished, but they are ready to go into a journal, if you see what I mean. So I've kept them together but separate, to go into a journal. So I'm just going to put these bits in with the journal that I'm kind of hopefully, you know, hopefully one day we'll get around to making, and then put, you know, some more bits and pieces in. So for instance here, oops, let me just move that out of the way, hold on. You know, this is a kit that I'm putting together with a little pouch. So again, that just needs finishing off. So if I keep all of the bits together that are to go with that particular project, then I can just pick the entire lot out and kind of do it like that. So again, I've got another one here, so another journal here, which again, I can just pull in all of those bits and put together with that. So yeah, and then this obviously is then much neater than being kind of in an entire line along my floor. So I'm going to just keep it here, I think, behind my desk. Obviously it's not ideal because it is now in the way of that cupboard. But, you know, that might be the best place. Or, to be honest, let me just move some more paper. Hold on. Okay, so I'm just going to take these actually and put them here. So they're at the end of my craft cart. Or my two craft carts. That's my carrier bag, rubbish carrier bag that you can see in the background there. So then actually I'll just turn it round so it's the right way round, and I can then just pick things up from here to work with when, you know, when I fancy working with them. So I think I will just quickly show you, you know, how I'm going to do my little card dividers, and that will kind of probably be it. So hold on, let me grab some card. Okay, I'm back. So I've just got this card. It's just, well, craft card. I've had it in my stash for years. I couldn't tell you what thickness it is, but it is pretty thick. So probably like 300 GSM or something like that. It's pretty thick. It's just standard A4 size. And all I'm going to do is just literally fold them in half. So I've just, you know, literally grabbed like a bundle. And I'm just going to fold them in half like that. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is make my little notches. Now, I did try with these ones, doing them kind of doubled over in thickness. It really was not great. It, yeah, it needed a lot of strength. So I'm going to have to do them single kind of thickness. But I'm going to try and do my notches at random points so that, you know, they're kind of at different places on the cards. But, you know, I'm not going to pay attention really too much to where I'm doing them. They can just go literally anywhere. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is trim my piece down here. Like that. And then obviously just trim out my little bits for my notch. And then same on this side. Oops, like that. And same with this one. Now, you might be wondering, why am I not doing these just like folded, you know, like an expandable file kind of, you know, so all my bits would be kept inside here, because then I could, I suppose, just grab the whole thing out like a little sort of folio-y, you know, pouch. You could do that. That would be, you know, maybe that would even be a better idea. The only reason I didn't do it is because anything that's quite puffy, you know, or padded, I thought wouldn't really sit brilliantly inside these. But to be honest, you know, that maybe would be a better way of doing it. So let's try a couple like that. So again, just fold that over. Oops. Fold that over there. I mean, again, I should probably use my bone folder, but I mean, obviously I wasn't really thinking I was going to be doing crafting here. Not that this is really crafting, I suppose, but anyway. And I'm just going to then, you know, make a notch. Like I say, you don't have to make notches. You don't have to do really, you know, any of these little bits and pieces, but just, you know, just how you fancy doing it, really. So, I mean, I could have it like that, and then just again trim in my bits here. Trying to make a better job than I have there. But, you know, again, it doesn't really have to be neat. It's only me who's going to be using it, so it doesn't really matter too much. But then, obviously, I could put bits inside there. So maybe I could even, you know, mix them up and kind of intermingle between the two different types. But that's just how I'm going to kind of sort them. So I'll do a few more and then I'll quickly show you how they are. Okay, so just to kind of show you, this is kind of how this one is. Obviously, as you can see, lots bigger than, you know, this one. And I'm just going to kind of put a couple of those in just to show you. Oops. Again, really do need to buy a sort of tripod thing for my camera, you know, phone. But that's how they look. Now, of course, they're quite tall. I may prefer them shorter so that I can see more at a glance. But again, only time will tell. You know, some of these things you just don't know until you actually are going to be using them, what's going to actually be, you know, the best solution really for you. So I'm just going to put them in like that. And then I will just quickly show you, you know, if I use, say, for instance, the folded ones, I've just made a few of those. So I'm just going to grab out, you know, a, you know, particular type. So, I mean, as you can see, these are unfortunately, you know, they're no longer organised like they were when I first started doing the mass making because, yeah, I've kind of got quite messy and jumbled now. But that's those in there. So to be honest, they might be, you know, they may prove better because then I can pull that entire thing out. Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. I mean, I quite like them from a flicking through point of view. I quite like them, you know, like this, loose. But from a taking out point of view, they maybe would be better like this. I don't know. Personally, yeah, personally, I think I prefer them separate, not held together in a sort of file like that. So I'm just going to cut mine all open. Hold on. Right, so that's it done. And I mean, I've got to confess, I need to do some more of these because lots of them are still mixed in together. And obviously over time where I've grabbed things, I've then mixed them up. So I do need to go through and just kind of get them lovely and organised so they're all the same, you know, ephemera type pieces, all in, you know, their own sections. But yeah, I'm quite liking how that is. I mean, as I say, that works for me because, or hopefully that's going to work for me. Obviously only time will tell, but because I don't mind kind of getting on the floor. I mean, obviously, you know, I realise that not everybody, you know, is in a position to even, you know, be on the floor. So, you know, just because this is kind of something that might work for me, it might not work for you. In which case, you know, you could have had your bits on the top level of your craft cart and then you could just kind of bend over, you know, or sit down even on your chair looking into your craft cart. You know, do the things that work for you best. You know, what works for one doesn't necessarily work for another, like we say. So yeah, I hope that you've maybe got some inspiration here somewhere. I know, again, it's been a bit of a bitty jump around video, but I think the progress is really kind of coming along wonderfully, because my ultimate goal is to just have things as accessible as possible and as easy to work with as possible. So for me, this now, you know, this feels very practical and useful. And then I've just got my little tray here that I think I kind of showed this last week. This again is more things needing finishing off, but they're not complete projects. They're kind of things that I've done bits and pieces of. So yeah, that's kind of the area now. Obviously that's the you know, the craft cart type area. Sorry, my carrier bag is there now, where I've been obviously cutting those files down. And then this here is my you know, lace kind of storage area, which is much better, or you know, kind of old clothes and things like that in this bag. So much better. Yeah, so I hope that, you know, possibly you're feeling a little bit inspired, and like I always say, thank you so much to everybody for encouraging me and joining me with this, because it's really down to you guys that I'm getting so, you know, so organised. So thank you so much, and I hope you all have an awesome weekend, and see you guys soon. Thanks then. Bye.